Welcome to Deep Thought. Sickness serves a purpose. You know, I have a friend, right? Good friend. And they had, I shouldn't say a sickness, but they had an accident that caused them to miss some time at work. But it's interesting what they said about it. They said, you know, there might be a greater purpose for all of this, right? And I was just like, yeah. I'm going to tell you what, sickness, accidents, anything that takes you out of your routine is actually good. Like, and I've talked about that before, like disease, which is dis-ease, to make you uncomfortable. Most people will keep going along their merry way until something significant happens to take them out of their pattern. That's the one, see, sickness actually serves a spiritual purpose. People don't realize that. Sickness serves a spiritual purpose. And I know some people will say, well, what about something like cancer? Even that. It's letting you know that you're not going in the right direction. Right? Like, I'll use cancer for example. There are plenty of stories of people beating cancer even naturally. That you're not taking a bunch of medicine, but beating it naturally. And what it is actually they just change their life in one way or the other. You know, if you constantly sick, like here's an example. Say you on a job, right? You can't stand that job. It's causing you a lot of stress. And in fact, that's really the cause of sickness anyway, stress. If you on a job doing anything and you got a lot of stress, you need to leave it because it will cause you to be sick. Because your body isn't relaxing, and if you holding that stress too long, that's how stuff like high blood pressure, heart disease, even diabetes come about. Because like with the diabetes part, you know, a lot of people like to relieve stress or even to have energy to work on that stressful job. What they doing? They putting sugar in their system. Like those 5-hour energy drinks are nothing but like concentrated sugar, right? So you really hurting your body and everything. And sometimes when you get sick, that's your body saying, you know what, I can't deal with this anymore. And it's telling you something. It's telling you, like, don't go out. Don't do this. Right? Don't move forward. Go in a different direction. Because it's never failed. You get some people, they'll go up and have strokes or something. And it's like, wait a minute, this ain't working. Sickness, disease is telling you. That's your body's way of saying, look, this ain't the right way. Because when even on a job, if you're on a job, I don't care how much money you're making, if you're being stressed out, that might not be the job for you. If you're in a relationship and you're sick all the time, right? If you're sick or depressed, right? Because depression is a sickness, right? If you're depressed all the time, sick, you don't feel happy, right? And sometimes you might even get to the point of physical pain. You need to get out of it. You need that spirit saying, hey, you ain't supposed to be there. Anything that's right for you should never cause you any pain. That's truly right for you. You should always be in a state of peace whenever you're dealing with something that's good for you. Unfortunately, sometimes what's good for us don't always taste good. That's the problem, see, and we get caught up in the excitement of something that's actually causing us pain. Like you get a lot of people that's using drugs, right? And if they were meant for it, they wouldn't have any withdrawal symptoms or anything. So they go for that high, but then they in a lot of pain afterwards. And then they go for the high again. And sometimes people do that with life. Now, they know that job is causing them stress. They know those evil people on that job are getting on their nerves. But they'll say, oh, I got to work on this job or do whatever. It's like you can do something else. That's when you start getting stressed on any job, that's when you need to start looking for another one. Or if y'all follow my business channel, start a business. And even in business, if you are too stressed and you're not feeling good doing this, you're not supposed to do it. And a lot of people get caught up into that. You know, you get caught up, you got to pay and everything, or people tell themselves some stuff, but you have to be honest with it. See, dis-ease dis-ease, sickness is feedback from your body. It's feedback from your body. Even certain things like I say, the cancers, that could be a feedback that you're not doing something right. Because cancer is ultimately when you're not using something in your body the way it's supposed to be used. Ultimately, I know people might come on and say all this other stuff, but if you really look at it, right? How is it that people are able to change their lifestyle or something and beat these things? Or they change their mindset, right? Because sometimes it's supposed to stop you. Sickness is supposed to stop you and just make you think. Like my associate realized that. They realized it's like, God got a reason for this happening. And I even told them, I was just like, because there was some stuff I needed to tell them. I was just like, yeah, well, there's some other stuff you be doing you need to think about. Because it gives you time to think. It gives you time to think about it. It's like, why I keep doing this? Right? Why am I going in this direction? And that's the purpose of it, is to stop you. And then part of getting well is actually getting on whatever you're supposed to be doing. Because if you become sick, like say you're on a job and it's literally making you sick, you need to leave that job. Or how do we say it when somebody gets on our nerves? They making us sick. That's because whatever they're doing isn't right. Now, they might be a good friend, and it might not happen all the time, but then that's when you need to let them know. It's like, hold up, this ain't... Either let them know, like, okay, yeah, you doing this to make me sick, or really, even better, to look at yourself and say, okay, why is this person's behavior making me sick? Right? Because in a case like that, it could be that they point out something that you're uncomfortable with. And let me get into that word uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is one of the best ways to make a person evolve, because they don't get complacent. Like if you're uncomfortable in a relationship, that might make you leave that relationship and get with the person you need to be with. If you're uncomfortable in a job, it might get you into whatever your real life purpose is. Right? That's the key. That's an important thing. That's what you want to deal with. That's what you want to think about, right? Think about it, right? Uncomfortable. Because when people are comfortable, they don't evolve. They don't go any place. They don't make any moves. They don't make any bold steps. When you're comfortable on a job, your life mission, your destiny might be something that's not that job. But because you're comfortable, you don't think about it. Now, as soon as you get uncomfortable, that's when you make changes. Like when I look back at my life, whenever I got uncomfortable on a job, that's when I made the changes. That's when I started doing things different. That's when I say, okay, I got to get off of here. I got to look at some other stuff. Whenever I got uncomfortable, because the comfort, when you get comfort, everything is good. It seems good, but, like I said, ultimately, it might not be your destiny. And, and what's the biggest discomfort other than being sick? You might be, have trouble moving around or something. You might, your body might be saying, hey, you need to drop about 100 pounds because you're uncomfortable. Or you might need to get out of this toxic relationship because you're uncomfortable. It's literally making you sick. And so you got to think about those things. You got to think about those things. So, once y'all think about everything that's going on in your life now. Think about what's making you feel good and what's bringing discomfort. And also distinguish between something that's feeling good but might be a little dysfunctional. Like drugs feel good, that high feel good, but if you're feeling discomfort afterwards, boom. Because the ultimate thing that anyone wants to do is just feel at peace at all times. That's it. That's really the highest expression of religion, right? In fact, that's my next one. That's my next one. The feeling of peace. Anyway, y'all, that's it for now. I want y'all to think on what I've said. Keep rising and transforming.